Because you're basically insinuating that refs are getting paid. People think that the game is not fixed. And we can if we ever get to the point, any sport, if they found out, it will ruin the sport. It will ruin the sport.
Welcome back to the Hidden Scoreboard, where we combine sports with our other favorite thing, conspiracies, and we question you to question everything you thought you knew about sports. I am Sky, the sports guy. Today I'm joined by one of my other hosts, KO.
Hello.
KO, do you recall Super Bowl 47, where the 49ers and the Ravens played, and they had that big blackout at halftime?
Was it halftime?
It was right after halftime.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, I remember.
Have you ever came across any of the conspiracies about that?
That's not one I've dove into, so that I'm intrigued.
So that's what we're going over today. Welcome to the Hidden Scoreboard Podcast. We appreciate you guys listening. Before we jump too far into it, want to thank everyone who's been listening, whether it's on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Facebook. We really appreciate your interactions. We appreciate the emails, the messages, the comments, even the ones that say that we're idiots, or as one particular person said, that we look like Pat McAfee's special cousins.
Yes,
so,
thank you. We appreciate that.
That's why I decided to rock the Colts jersey tonight. A little shout out to Pat. I'm an Indianapolis fan. It was my second home for a while, and Indiana definitely has some hardcore sports fans. So
underrated town. It gets a bad rep for like
underrated sports town.
Well, just overall in general, great town,
right? Great
city. Lots to do.
Pat, if you're listening, bring on the Hidden Scoreboard. Make us a part of your brand. We'll be indebted to you forever. Anyway, also, last bit of housekeeping. We need more 5-star reviews. We're not going to be able to grow the podcast without reviews. We're not going to be able to get in front of new people without reviews. So if you are a friend or family member of us and you're tired of us harassing you, be sure to leave a review so we can leave you alone. Okay?
Please, and thank you.
All right. So, KO, what can you tell me about Super Bowl 47 to help me set the stage here?
I do recall the blackout.
Okay.
It was in New Orleans, correct?
It was. Good call. Bloop, bloop.
Yeah, I do remember that. I couldn't really tell you the rest. I honestly couldn't even tell you who won that one. So.
Okay. Well, the Ravens won. Spoiler alert.
Is that the Joe Flacco?
That is the Joe Flacco Super Bowl.
Okay.
Also, this one was famous before the blackout because it's the first time two brothers had coached against each other.
Okay, the Harbaugh Bowl.
The Har Bowl, yep, the Har Bowl. So
okay.
It's cool. Funny. It was kind of marketed as that, but now all you can find is the blackout when you search it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So kind of setting the scene here. Ravens get off to a dominating start. I think it's like 21-6 at halftime. Halftime hits. That's Beyonce's big famous Super Bowl halftime show that she put on.
Okay.
They come out of halftime, and within the first 2 minutes, we have Jacoby Jones run a NFL record 108-yard kickoff. Right into the end zone. So then they go up 28-6.
Okay.
And then the blackout happens, and we have 34 minutes of no games.
Huh.
The biggest game of the year. 34 minutes, nothing happening. So
I bet that was madness in the stands. Can you imagine?
Well, there's all kinds of weird stuff with this.
Oh, I bet. I've never dove into this. I'm actually really interested in what you got.
So the way this episode's going to go, first, I'm going to tell you the quote-unquote real story about what caused the blackout.
Okay.
Then we're going to dive into what Beyonce's involvement is in the blackout. That's a whole layer to the conspiracy.
Oh, I'm sure.
Normally, we wouldn't cover like Beyonce, but Super Bowl halftime show, Illuminati stuff, spoiler alert, that's going to be something we cover. And then finally, I'm going to reveal to you the most popular theory regarding the blackout. So we really only got a couple points here, but I think there's going to be a lot to discuss. And once again, just like I did with what was it? the NBA draft one we did with the smoking gun with Patrick Ewing talking.
Yeah.
I think I found another smoking gun
Sweet.
that proves that there's something beneath the surface of this, and it's not just a coincidence. It's not something that just happened.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do the boring part first. All right, so this is the quote-unquote real story, like the real thing that happened. This is what the NFL credits the blackout to. This is the official story, okay? So 2 years before the big game, that's how early they start working on this stuff. 2 years. So 2 seasons before they even play the Super Bowl there. They're in there doing upgrades to the Superdome.
Okay.
So they did over $4 million in upgrades, according to NOLA.com.
Okay.
Yeah, they reported it. So that's the New Orleans, Louisiana.com. Including the decision with this was to add a protective relay system. The reason for such system, to prevent a power outage in the stadium and provide newer, more advanced type protection to the Superdome.
Okay.
So that's the first paragraph of the real story.
And this is post Hurricane Katrina, which I just looked up.
Yes.
Was in 2005. I can't believe that was 20 years ago, but
Fun fact.
I was wondering if that had anything to do with it, but I guess not.
Fun fact, the Superdome did not lose power during Katrina.
Wow. Yeah, because they housed people there.
Fun fact.
Yeah, they opened
But they lost power during the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So after the blackout and everything, there was an emergency meeting of the New Orleans City Council, Utility Regulatory Committee, where representatives blame the electrical relay device. An electrical relay is an electromagnetic switch that opens and closes circuits. Alarm relay alert operators when there's a problem. So this tells you when there's a problem. It closes and opens things to kind of manage the power. While protective relays can trip breakers, causing power to stop flowing. So if it gets overwhelmed, it kind of shuts itself off to protect it.
Okay.
So they installed something that supposedly is supposed to help them manage the power and shut it off if it gets overwhelmed, anticipating the stadium using a lot of power.
Sure.
This sounds like literally putting a parking brake next to a supercharger. We don't need to manage the power here. Let it flow, baby.
Right.
We're going to be putting on the most crazy halftime show of all time. Let's make sure there's plenty of energy. So anyway.
Yeah, that's odd. Yeah, very odd.
All right. So kind of going in here. So there's a back and forth between the utility company, the equipment manufacturer, and the stadium operator, where they're all pointing the finger at each other. It's your fault. The device didn't work. It's your fault. You didn't give us enough power. It's your fault. You didn't install it correctly.
Yeah. Well, nobody's going to take the blame. I mean.
Yeah. So based on the testing, they had determined that if higher settings had been applied, the equipment would have not been disconnected from power, is what an executive of the equipment manufacturer told National Geographic.
Okay.
So the relay was installed with factory default settings, is what they found out, the actual operator. And the manufacturer gave no indication that those settings needed to be changed because, we make everything standard for giant stadiums.
Yeah.
The operator also called the manual for the device confusing and ambiguous, was his quote.
Okay.
Yep.
So it sounds like a lot of people that didn't know what they were doing.
They're putting something on it to control the power, and it literally, if it gets overwhelmed, it shuts it off.
Yeah.
It just sounds idiotic.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not an electrician, but.
No, me neither. I would love to have one on the show and get their opinion. If you're an electrician, please comment, right? Let us know in the comments below if this makes any sense at all, because it doesn't make any sense to me. Roughly a month or so after the so-called Blackout Bowl, a report by a forensic investigator, John Palmer, shed light, no pun intended, on the failures that led to the outage. Palmer concluded that the manufacturer of the device and the utility company, they did not work together properly to ensure that it was set up correctly. Well, no duh, John.
Yeah. Thanks, John.
It was like, that might as well have been a quote for John Madden. Like, it's not set up right, so it didn't work. Yeah,
Right.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Okay. So that's their official story, and they're sticking to it. Okay. So one of the biggest.
So that's from the electric company?
That is from literally NOLA.com, like where
that's the whole city of Nolans.
Yeah, that's like what the city council decided to do, because I guess they, part of the stadium's funding is from them and whatnot,
Sure.
and that obviously the city benefits a lot when there's a giant Super Bowl or a sporting event or
absolutely
whatever. Okay. So that's the official story, quote unquote. The first conspiracy, and I tried to steer away from this, but there's like, before we do it, I got to play the video for you. Okay. So we're going to play the video. Here's our first video of the blackout. I just wanted to kind of play this real quick to set the scene. That way, everybody, if you didn't watch the Super Bowl that year, this will kind of help set the scene to what they were actually dealing with in the moment. And that smoking gun, Kyle, I was telling you about, it's in the clip.
Okay.
So let's see if you can catch it.
Under pressure, and he's sacked back at the 40-yard line. Arthur Jones. Why is the clock stop?
All of the lights on the 49ers side of the Superdome are out. You can only imagine the scramble officials are going through. And this has lapsed into the surreal.
They're working on it now. They should have it up in 15 minutes. So if you want to let the benches know, that's the latest. Right?
And where's that coming from? It's coming from NFL control.
NFL control.
I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, why is the clock stopped? Why is the clock stopped? It stopped for it stopped on 13:22 for 5 seconds, and then all of a sudden everything went out.
It was 13:22.
20-minute delay. 20 minutes?
Hey, I'm reminded of that Motown song. There ain't no mountain high enough, and there ain't no valley low enough, and there is nothing that's going to keep us from winning this championship. Not this and not nothing. We're going to win this game no matter how long it takes.
How the hell does this happen? This is just insane.
Hey, fam, we might have a 20-minute delay.
What?
Yeah, get your mind right. We're playing.
The main complaint right now is the phones, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, but their headsets are out. And they're trying to make ours be out, too.
First of all, I don't think it's going to be an issue because the lights are going to come back on, their phones are going to come back on. But if the phones don't come on, because one side phones go off in the regular season, you don't shut the other side off. So we're the visiting team. Our phones are intact. We should be able to keep our phones. It should go to Roger to make a decision. That's our argument. Okay. Hey, is your coach allowed to be in their huddle? Is he allowed to be in their huddle? Hey, why is he in the huddle? Why is he in the huddle? Get him out of the huddle. Gonna let him waltz right into the huddle? I wasn't there until he was in the huddle, Byron. I'm not talking to my guys.
But they're making progress.
They're starting to come up. Yeah, they've got the grid coming back up, yeah.
We're now ready to resume action. Let's go.
All right. What's your reaction to that? Did you catch what I caught?
There's a lot there. I didn't know the coach couldn't be in the huddle. I mean,
John Harbaugh's hilarious. That's
that's interesting. The phone lines being down and
only one side.
And then there's like a rule in place for that as well. Like John was saying that his were on so they could stay on, but the other team
he's pretty much saying that's not my problem.
Yeah, he thought that was going to fly.
Yeah. So at the very beginning,
the NFL control, is that what you're? Okay, I heard that. Yes.
Yep. Oh yeah, it'll be back on 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And who's that coming from?
Who's it coming from?
Control.
Oh, NFL control.
Yeah. What?
Huh? It's not coming from a stadium engineer.
Yeah,
it's coming from the NFL's control booth.
Right.
It sounds like somebody somewhere pulled the lever, baby.
They pushed the button.
They pressed the button. I'm telling you, dude, there's something weird right there. And then it's like the whole, so there's that thing that happened right there. And the players, they weren't allowed to go in the locker room during this time. So you mentioned what it would be like for fans in the stands for 37 minutes doing nothing.
Yeah.
The players weren't allowed to go to the locker room.
Yeah.
Why not? Why can't they go in the locker room? Who cares if they're in the locker room drilling, resting, staying loose, doing what they need to do in the locker room?
Yeah. Why is that a rule? And is that a rule? Or
I don't know if that's a rule or if they just made that up on the fly. I have no idea. So just very odd, but I'm telling you, there's a smoking gun right there in the clip. How is the NFL knowing when the power is going to come back on?
Right. Yeah, that's
I
strange.
mean, yeah, no duh, we're going to get it back on. Where the game must go on, right? But
right.
to know it's going to be like in 15 minutes.
The fact that they got it back on in 15 minutes, I mean, that tells you something too. I mean,
well,
my
it
power
was
gets out,
30.
it's
The
out for
total.
hours.
The total was 34 minutes.
Yeah.
That's something else too. It's like 34 minutes. You know, I don't know.
For something of that scale that failed, you got it back up and running.
Right.
Yeah, that's
and I don't know it. Obviously that clip we watched isn't in real time. It's
right. Right.
So
yeah.
maybe the 15-minute thing was 20 minutes into it. Who knows? I'm just saying. It's just the whole thing for you to say the NFL control.
Yep.
It's coming from them.
That.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I caught that.
When I seen that in the clip, I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. That's the greatest clip I've ever seen. So, all right. So before the blackout, so let's roll it back. Okay. Before the blackout, we have one of the most epic halftime shows of all time. I was going to play a video of the halftime show, but it's like literally the Beyonce part alone is 13 minutes and 55 seconds.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Well, and I just couldn't decide on which part of it to cut out because I can't play the whole thing.
Right.
You know? I didn't want to disrespect the Beehive. You know, we don't need them coming for the podcast. You know,
no.
We like Beyonce for the record, guys.
Right.
You know, we liked it. We put rings on it. You know, that kind of thing. So anyway, naturally, we're not going to overlook it. She's globally renowned. You know, she's an A-list, musician at the time and still is now. But there's conspiracy theorists that link her to all the Illuminati rumors.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That was going on back then.
Yeah.
And that somehow the blackout was a cue to her people to like confirm like how much power they have in a situation. There's some people really grasping at straws on this stuff.
I mean, some people really go down that Illuminati rabbit hole, man. I mean,
well, and it's like, I'm not saying there's not something there, but it's like, they're like, when you talk to those people, like, that's what they want you to think. And it's like, about what? Like, what would be the point?
They're saying that they were showing that they could control that moment, basically.
Yeah, like so almost every Super Bowl, people will find Masonic symbolism and occult symbolism, demonic, whatever. Yeah. And obviously if you overanalyze anything, you're gonna find it. So I'm not gonna say there is or isn't that in there, but there comes a point where she's flashing the pyramid, all right, the all-seeing eye, kind of like, hey, I see you, do you see me? And then literally right after halftime, the blackout happens.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I don't know if there's something there or not, but literally every time, every search I did, every research, anything, it'd be like 5 paragraphs about how this is no big deal. The electric company messed up, whatever. And then like 1 paragraph about Beyonce would just get mentioned randomly. Weirdest thing. I'm like, well, I guess it's got to be in the podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
I got a clip of her too. So this is just a quick 26-second clip so we can give Beyonce her credit on the podcast.
Conspiracy heads needed no explanations for why the lights went out in NOLA. It was Beyonce's fault, obviously. That hand sign she made during the halftime show, that was an occult Illuminati pyramid, and the proof was in the power outage.
So that's a little clip for somebody else advertising their podcast. I just thought it fit so well what we were talking about. So definitely shout out to that creator. We're going to put her stuff in our comments and below to give her credit. But I just thought the clip of Beyonce right there was just perfect with the eyes and the pyramid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you think any of that stuff is real before we get to the next point?
I mean, I'm curious what the next point is. I mean, the Illuminati Beyonce stuff. I mean, that's a whole nother conspiracy to dive into.
Right. We could do all the Super Bowl halftime shows.
So yeah, I'm curious what else you got. Like as far as like, I'm sure there's something that the NFL, what's in it for the NFL. I mean, there's got to be some stuff out there.
Follow the money.
Yeah. So,
all right. So
what do
here,
you got?
this is the most popular theory, and we kind of already touched on it, that the NFL shut the power off on purpose. And the reason that they would do this is as the game's getting blown out, we know as fans, we've even been watching Super Bowls together where we went, okay, I'm going home early.
Yeah.
Yep. You know, you had like the Denver Super Bowl. You know, that was
thanks.
a blowout. For example.
Thanks for reminding me.
I was waiting to say it. Waiting to say it the whole episode. But seriously, like you had like the Tom Brady Super Bowl, right? The Falcons won.
Yep.
You know,
Which you and I we almost did, but we stuck that one out.
Yeah, you were at my house and you're like, well, I'll watch one more drive. Okay.
Yeah. Then we started doing math and
yeah. So
okay,
it's not the first time something's happened where they're trying to get more eyeballs back on the game because these advertisers,
it's a blowout and they're trying to be like, hey,
they're like, what can we do?
There's a blackout over here. So I mean, I'm going to turn it on and see. Yeah. Okay.
So I remember watching this one specifically with my wife before we were married. I was ready to turn it off.
So it wasn't your wife.
Right.
Okay.
my girlfriend. I was ready to turn it off. And I literally was like, whoa, what's this blackout thing? What's going down? And maybe because this is 2013, was this? I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah. So this is 12 years after like 9/11. And there's, you know, this is in my mind as a young adult, like I was like a little worried of like a terrorist attack or something like, oh my, you know, what better place for a terrorist attack except for a Super Bowl or something like that. And I'm not putting that out there. I would hate for something like that to happen. Yeah. But in the moment, I'm like, oh, this ain't good.
Yeah.
This ain't good. You know? So anyway, of course they rule that out pretty quick. So anyway,
there's probably a lot of that panic in the stadium, you know, even, you know, the fans, the players.
Right. Why is the power out? There's no way it could be an accident.
Right.
Right. So, you know, kind of diving into the ratings, obviously the blackout creates more of a buzz. And it also created like more of its own media. Like, so when I say that, like, if you go back and kind of Google this, you'll even find like clips of Saturday Night Live making fun of it.
Okay.
And making fun of the announcers kind of running out of things to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they say any press is good press. I mean,
well, an interruption can grab attention of people on social media,
right?
Influencers, celebrities. I mean, everybody kind of just likes a little bit of drama.
I'm sure they talked more about the blackout than the Ravens winning the Super Bowl on ESPN the next day.
Well, what's funny is, so that was at the time when blackout happens, it's 28-6. The Ravens ended up winning the Super Bowl 34-31. So this blackout changed the momentum of the whole game.
Yeah, yeah, it worked,
and it created some drama at the end.
Yeah,
you know,
everyone's tuned in watching.
One team whose phones were working or wasn't working, all of a sudden comes back, or the lines were down, but maybe there's some communication. The Ravens lines weren't down, so maybe they were listening. I don't know. I'm just saying. I mean, kind of going back to that clip, it's like, how is one side working and not the other? And maybe they want you to think it's not working.
Right.
Right. A little double sneak attack. You know, obviously, when it comes to this kind of thing, you always have to look at the people that were involved. And there's a good clip of Ray Lewis I'm about to play, where even he thinks something's up. And this isn't like a thought that crosses his head years later. This is an actual, there's an audio clip inside this clip of him during the Super Bowl talking about it.
Okay.
Here he is in real time reacting as a player and knowing that this thing is not an accident. So here we go.
Right. A lot of things have happened in 100 years, but only once has there been a Super Bowl where the lights go out. There's a little bit of a flow.
You need to tell me straight up right now who made that call.
I don't know.
Man, you paid me. You connect.
Can I have another crab, please?
Yeah, see, now you want another crab.
Now you want another crab. Quiet and the crowd noise down. I'm from New Orleans, so I take a lot of pride in our electricity, and I was very disappointed.
In $1 billion stadium, lights ain't going out, Peyton, unless something is at risk.
So you're going conspiracy.
I'm going conspiracy. I don't know what happened.
$1 zillion company? Ain't no way.
For that game to be so lopsided.
Yeah, it was about to get ugly, right? It was about to get...
Come on,
yeah.
We're almost 3-4 touchdowns up.
Yeah.
It's about to get ugly. It's 3rd down and 13, I think.
They're going to have to throw every play.
It's
teeing off.
Man, it's 60-3. Guys, this is an executive decision. Hit the lights.
It's like Kevin Costner and Bull Durham. I can get us a rain out.
Turn off the lights.
0-0.
Did he say $1 zillion company with a Z?
Yeah. And I like the Kevin Costner reference. Just kind of going back to one of our old episodes. Kevin Costner, we believe, was involved in a little blackout with
old Cal.
With Cal Ripken Jr.
Yeah.
So the Bull Durham reference there, blackouts.
Yeah, it all comes
I don't know.
Circle.
Yeah. So the idea is the NFL did it, and that it was to create more drama and make a closer game, better ratings, make the advertisers feel better about eyeballs being on there. Also, if there's a blackout like that and I'm in the stadium, I'm probably getting some more food and drinks. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Could you imagine the beer line?
Yeah, I mean, you might as well, right? I mean, line up. There ain't nothing else to do.
I like how Ray's like, come on, Peyton, you're connected, man. Like,
Well, and you seen Peyton right there, not to overanalyze his his body language, but he's telling him to quiet down. He's like, let's quiet the crowd noise. It's like, whoa. It's like almost like a little hint, like, bro, you better tread lightly on this.
Yeah.
We're gonna make the wrong people mad.
But they put just enough out there to make it funny, It's
it's not real if we laugh.
Right.
They would never take advantage of our emotions or goodwill.
Right. I'm not crying, you are.
Right. So yeah. So thoughts? Like, do you think I'm on to something here? Do you think I'm crazy? What's your reaction to all that?
Well, I've known you a long time, and I do think you're crazy. But I think the biggest point is, you brought this up, and the first thing I said is I honestly can't even remember who won. I just know it happened.
Right.
The blackout. That's it. That's all anybody knows about this game.
Right.
I couldn't tell you a single play. Couldn't tell you any. I mean, you said there was a record-breaking kickoff return.
Yeah, Jacoby Jones, and I think he even had, and I could be wrong, I think he caught a pass for a touchdown. I think he returned maybe a punt for a touchdown and a kick return for a touchdown. It's like something crazy.
Did he win MVP?
You would think
he should have.
I'm not sure, but you would think he would have. I mean, it was.
Yeah. But yeah,
nuts.
man, it's definitely, as we've talked through all these conspiracies and everything, it's like there is always some kind of hidden agenda, it seems, and there's probably more out there that we'll never know. I mean, more than we'll ever know on this one. I mean, the NFL is pretty good about keeping things on lockdown. They control a lot of things. They control the media.
Especially in the sports media, they're king.
Yeah, the NFL's king.
Right now is the off season, and I'm seeing more stuff about the NFL off season than the NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
They're the king of sports media, so their cycles aren't just big and loud; they're fast.
Right.
I mean,
and they've shown that dominance. They've taken Christmas Day from the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
They have a game on almost every day of the week during the season. I mean, they just dominate.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So would I put it past them to do something to spiff up a Super Bowl? Why not?
I guess my only rebuttal is, why that time? There's probably been other Super Bowls,
like the Denver Super Bowl,
the Denver one, even like the Denver one against the Redskins back in the day, where they lost like 55-10. I mean, that was probably a blowout,
right?
Why? I mean, you can only do it once, kinda.
Well, they said this is the first time this has happened out of 100.
Yeah.
I mean,
so 1%.
Maybe there's other things that happened in those games, or maybe, I always wonder what happens to the owners of these deals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, was
Did they get a check?
Well, it's kind of like the San Francisco 49ers. They're like, hey, like, it's fine. They can win. We just don't want to look stupid. Like, we're one of the key franchises in NFL history.
Right.
You know, we deserve a little bit of respect here.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know if that's like just a part of it. Like maybe somebody called in a favor and they're like, okay, we'll let it happen this time. You know, on the other end of that, you see other franchises like the Panthers, who lost to Denver.
Yeah.
I felt they got absolutely embarrassed.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
you know, who knows? Von Miller, MVP that game. Last
Right.
defensive player to win a MVP in the Super Bowl. Bloop, bloop.
Yep.
So shout out to Von Miller. I bet nobody thought I was going to say that in this episode.
Yeah. Not me.
Yeah. So that's it. That wraps up today's episode. We really appreciate everyone tuning into the podcast. New episodes are released every Monday at 12:15. You can catch us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. If you prefer listening, there's Spotify and all the other platforms. Be sure, like I mentioned at the beginning, Kyle, what do we need them to do?
Like, comment, subscribe, and 5-star reviews.
5
That gets us in the algorithm.
Yeah, that way we don't have to bother you guys. So we'll see you next Monday at 12:15. Have a fantastic week. Now let's play the outro.
There was a lot said by everybody, except for me, to tell you the truth. So we'll let people keep talking like they know everything, like they have all the answers. And then sooner or later, the whole truth will come out. And until then, we'll continue to let people talk.